It's interesting because it's 2014 now, and in 1994, I was introduced to the internet. And I have a construction background, concrete, kind of serial entrepreneurial background, but in 1994, I was introduced to the internet, and I started looking at, what could you do? What could I do on the internet? This new thing that Al Gore invented, right? I took out a yellow pad of paper and I started writing down ideas. And I thought, cars, nobody'd ever want to buy a car on the internet. And I started thinking of ideas that I could come up with or do. And I laugh about this because I have friends that are, now that I know who were pretty high up at Microsoft. And I used to always think to myself, what can I do that Bill Gates won't steal from me? Right? And so I came up with this idea of vacation rentals. So in 1994, I bought a little server and a little bit of time and a few books, and I started putting people's vacation rentals on the internet. One at a time for a year. I put vacation rentals online, and I didn't charge anybody any money, and I just said, hey, if you ever get a booking out of this or a rental, go ahead and pay me. And it was $99 a year back then. And about a year into putting all these vacation rentals, there's a guy named Frank McCormick from Lake Tahoe. He was the first guy that ever paid me a dime doing this. And I called Frank up one day and I said, hey Frank, how's your listing doing? And he's like, you're not going to believe this. I rented my house in Lake Tahoe on your website. And I said, wow, that's great. And Nick, you'll appreciate this. He said, yeah, to a family from South Africa. Some guy sitting in South Africa saw my vacation rental on the internet and did all the time change stuff and called me. Well, that was 20 years ago now. And to think that this could have evolved from where that was just me in my spare bedroom in my house with one computer and a desk, and to think that it could have evolved from that to where it is right now is a pretty amazing American success story. Yes. It's an Idaho success story. And we don't do all of these things by ourselves. And I've been blessed and amazed at the number of people who've come on board with us. And so for several years I put vacation rentals on the internet, and about 1997 I met Steve Trover, who's in here somewhere. And there's Steve. And Steve's from Orlando, Florida, and he was a big property manager in Orlando, and Steve tells me, hey, I need a new website. So we built his website, and he was advertising on our website that we had for just vacation rentals. And about 2003, Steve said, I need to be able to take bookings online just like Expedia takes a booking for a hotel. And we started working on that, and 5 years later, in 2008, we launched what is now LiveRez. And we launched it with 2 property managers using it, one in Sun Valley and Steve. And 4 or 5 years later, we've got nearly 800 professional vacation rental management companies now that use our software platform. It's the largest vacation rental software platform in the world, in the industry, for professional vacation rental managers. And the people that you see around here that are working with me, are the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. And Tyler, where's Tyler at?
Hi.
Tyler.
Right here.
Right there. 5 years ago, Tyler sends me an email for a Craigslist ad for an accounting position. And he lived in Coeur d'Alene, and he wanted to move down to Boise. And I'm on the phone with him at like midnight because I get this email from him, and I emailed him back, and then next thing I know, we're on the phone at like midnight. And I talked to Tyler for about 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes I realized 2 things. One, I'd never have him handle my accounting. And 2, this guy could sell ice to an Eskimo, right? So he flew down a couple days later, interviewed with us, and as luck would have it, he was the first guy we interviewed that day, but his flight didn't leave until 5 o'clock, so he stayed in our office. We were over by the Idaho Athletic Club at the time. He stayed in our office all day and wouldn't leave. And I'm like, okay, your interview's over. I know, but my flight doesn't leave till 5. Can I hang around? And finally, at the end of the day, we hired Tyler. But, everybody that we've come in contact with, it's been amazing. And you know, 3 years ago, I looked at this building, and we were across the street at Willow Creek, above Willow Creek there, and I looked at this building 3 years ago. I walked in this office and I said, wow, this is a great building. And then I have to have my analytical, put my analytical hat on. I go, we're just not ready for this building. We're not ready to be here. And we ended up leasing a building in over by the West Y and on Discovery, and we were there for 3 years. Well, our lease was coming up at the end of October, or in October, and sometime last summer, I was in the middle of leasing another building over in Boise. And we had leases out, we were ready to sign the lease, and I was eating dinner at Ahi Sushi, and I walked out of Ahi, and I see a big sign up, and this building's for lease again. And the next day, I walked through this building and said, okay, we're ready for this. We're ready for this building now. And, you know, we tore up the other lease and leased this building.
Thank you.
And, you know,
Thank you.